Good morning and welcome to GrainTV.
Good afternoon and welcome to GrainTV.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV.
Cody, what's your favorite number out of this morning's barrage of data?
Yeah, I'd say that. Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. Today is September 30th. I'm Cody Bills, this is Brock Shimano, and today was quarterly grain stocks report day. Weekly prices just ended up very strongly down. December corn down 46, no beans down 81 and a quarter. That's insane. December wheat down 33. Kansas City wheat down 27. The only thing that kind of hung in there, but not really. Brock, can you break down this quarterly stocks report and kind of explain to me what got the market all in a tizzy?
Yeah, I guess the biggest shocker coming out of this report was the report that corn was actually well above expectations and well above that 1 billion threshold that people kind of look at as the stocks that are needed to get us through to the next year. We actually ended up at 1.13 billion, which was above expectations by about 170 million bushels. This number is slightly lower than last year, down about 34%. But on the bean front, we saw a slight reduction in the quarterly stocks and came in a little bit under the analyst estimates at 215 million. I didn't look at that as being, decisive one way or the other, but it did end up following corn lower today and lost, but I think it was over 40 cents on the contract. Wheat, on the other hand, we saw a large increase in the stocks. We had harvest in there. Several other factors contributed to that, but we ended up quite a bit above analyst expectations by about 100 million. Cody, with all this selling that we've had in the last couple of weeks, what do you see being the low price coming in? Do you see end buyers coming in here soon, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my thoughts are we've seen 4 weeks of selling for corn. We've come off well over $1, darn near $2, and I would say that the prices are very, very. I think it's very positive. It's a very big possibility that we see export demand pick up here, end user demand pick up here. We had a pretty decent export sales last week or this Thursday that showed last week. Our prices have come even further. I would expect to see next week that showing up in the export sales on Thursday. I think we need to establish a demand floor. I think that we need to look at this, and we need to keep a close watch on any of those rumors of China buying or any of the other foreign countries buying corn at these levels.
Yeah, I really look at these prices, and they have to be enticing for end users to step in. Ethanol production, they need to step in, lock in some of their use for in the future. Feed people need to come in. They need to start buying and thinking about that. And really, we did see export demand pick up a little bit. We saw some encouraging signs there. We saw South Korea make a large purchase. We saw Taiwan make a large purchase. China actually changed their origination back to the United States on some of their purchases that they had previously made. So I'm looking at that as being, maybe this is kind of the tipping point. The prices have come down enough to be enticing for these end users to start purchasing.
Yeah, I think really it was almost kind of a perfect storm of ugly feelings in the market. You had the stocks report come out well over expectations, so we have a decent amount of corn in stock right now. But then you're having harvest pressure. Harvest pressure is going to be picking up next week, and that's going to add to this feeling. We had fund liquidating, for 4 weeks, and I think at some point you have to look at this and say this has got to be a flush out. It's no time to lose your composure in your marketing plan. I think that we will in the next week or so find some sort of export demand down here. I certainly hope that prices don't continue to absolutely tank. But don't lose your composure. And of course, if you have any questions about your marketing strategy, you're welcome to give us a call and kind of see what our thoughts are on what sort of strategies you can do to protect yourself.
Yeah, most certainly. Let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back with some basis information.
Welcome back to GrainTV. Well, Brock, We had a early freeze on the 15th, and Planalytics just came out with their greenness report. Do you see any sort of signs of the effects of that early freeze? And can you explain to us this greenness report and how it affects grains?
Yeah, basically what we're looking at is the vegetation health index. As you can see in the upper Midwest, we did see quite a bit of greenness come out of the crops up there. We did see a lot of browning. And part of that is due to just the maturity levels. We are getting towards that point where we are mature. We are going to be harvesting soon. But if you look in the upper Minnesota area and the upper Michigan area, we see a significant amount of browning there. And I believe that is due to the early freeze that we did have in those areas. Just to throw this out there, that was the second earliest freeze in the past 61 years for Minnesota and Iowa. So that's a pretty significant event that we had just a couple weeks ago. There's a little bit of greening going on in Indiana and Ohio, and that's partly due to a slow-moving rain system that's been going through there for about the last 7 days or so.
They're also way behind when it comes to maturity because, Indiana, Ohio, they got their crop in late. They were also really heavily affected by rain early on in the year, so we may not see the browning effects, especially for that southeastern part of Indiana.
Yeah, that's certainly correct. And down in the southwestern part of the United States, we actually see quite a bit of greenness coming in. That's just due to seasonal monsoonal rains. Too bad it doesn't hit our friends over in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. They're really hurting for rain right now. They've had a significant drought basically for the last year. They're having a lot of problems getting their hard red winter wheat into the ground. Internationally, wheat has been pressured from good harvests from Russia, Black Sea area. And it just comes out that Australia is going to have one of their largest crops that they're ever going to have.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to be happening for wheat, Cody?
Yeah, well, Australia has really had one of their best crops. It's above average because we had above average September rain. Really, it's like, in the top 3 production that it's ever had. And I think that you need to look at that and say, all right, how is that going to affect our grain marketing in the U.S.? Last year, we had incredible premiums in high-protein wheat. Now, these premiums come from a lack of stressed grain. Basically, we had a very wet growing season in North America last year, and as a result, we ended up with some high premiums for this HRS, the spring wheat, 15 and 16%. And notice how the rally really starts when Australia wasn't able to produce last year. They're a big producer of high protein wheat, quality wheat, and they just, they had drought in some areas, they had flooding in others, and it really wasn't a great crop. As a result of that, we had unprecedented premiums in the spring wheat market. I think this year, despite the fact that we had many acres that weren't able to be planted for spring wheat, I think that the quality production in Australia is going to put pressure on that basis that we see here in the U.S. I think that we may not see that rally extend like we did last year.
Yeah, I think I follow you right along with those lines, Cody. And just put these numbers out there. Our production in the United States was actually down 9% this year. Our acreage was down 4%. Our yield was down 2.5 bushels per acre. Our hard red spring was actually up about 1% on our production, but our hard red spring wheat was actually down 25% this year on our production. So those are some significant numbers. Maybe this basis does have to improve just a slight bit to pull some of that grain out of the farmers' hands. But I don't see there's a whole lot of upside to this market this year.
Yeah, you can really see that we had significantly lower basis. We're at harvest lows basically. I would say that you're going to see basis improvement coming out, but will we see it to the magnitude that we did last year? I would submit that we probably won't.
Okay. Well, follow us on Twitter. Check us out on Facebook. Visit us at grainhedge.com or give us a call at 877-GRAIN07.
Have a great weekend.